I am joined now by Benji Maruyama, United States Air Force Research Laboratory, who is presenting the late-breaking symposium on artificial intelligence for materials development at the 2018 MRS Spring Meeting. Nice to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's start with the basics. What is artificial intelligence, and specifically, what does it mean for materials researchers?
Right, so artificial intelligence and machine learning is a broad area that's of great interest right now in the community. And I think of it as sort of an end user consumer of AI as a way to help me analyze data and to make decisions about the experimental process or the research process. And so there's, as I said, a lot of recent interest where people are employing AI and machine learning in the research loop, where they actually analyze data that can be very complex in high dimensions, and so much more so than the normal reductionist linear process that materials researchers use, and end up with surprising and very interesting results, and then use those results hopefully to guide subsequent experiments or modeling campaigns.
And how exactly did this forum come about, and what are you hoping to accomplish with it?
Yeah. So we were approached by MRS, who understood the sort of the rising interest in this area, and since I've been working in this area and have been sort of in touch with the community, it was very attractive to me. I just thought this is a great opportunity to get people together and to share it with the larger MRS community. And I think, as I said, the interest is rising.
Could you give us an overview, because I know you have multiple sessions you're presenting, of some of those sessions?
Yeah, sure. So I think we're starting with a session where we have a lot of invited talks. So we have Juan de Pablo from University of Chicago, who's talking about his efforts in chemistry and simulation. We have a very interesting talk by Professor Kambhampati, who is not a materials researcher. He's actually president for the Association for the Advancement of Artificial Intelligence. And so he's coming to us to give his view of AI and what the human interaction element is with AI. We'll also have some contributed talks, but generally I think the area is thinking about these really exploratory initial ideas on how we can employ AI either in modeling and simulation or experimentation to essentially take these very complex problems and make good decisions about what kinds of simulations or experiments we can do.
The traditional process involved in research takes a long time. Mm-hmm. So how does artificial intelligence potentially change that process?
Right. Yeah, so the traditional process is perhaps decades long, right? 20 or 30 years is the usual number that we use. And it is far too slow. If we can use AI, then what that does is potentially allows us to discover materials much faster than we would. So the ability to do, say, thousands or millions of simulations or probes into these high dimensional parameter spaces is one idea. The other idea is to essentially reduce the search space of high dimensional experimental parameter space or theoretical parameter space, and to think about, to focus our experiments on those areas. And that would be guided by AI and machine learning approaches. But our ability to do this closed loop is very important to this. That is, each time, instead of doing lots of experiments, we do lots of iterations.
Mm-hmm. Are there some existing areas where AI has been applied to materials research?
Yeah, there are a number of them. There have been some in simulation, so there's been a lot of work by folks who are involved in MGI, the Materials Genome Initiative. There are some recent results, ChemOS by Professor Gasparro from Harvard, who's doing great work in that area. We've done some work in closed loop experimentation called ARES for autonomous research systems. So there are a number of interesting efforts out there.
There was a lot of excitement because this is the first time AI has been a topic in an MRS symposium. Mm-hmm. Do you see this as something that we'll continue to see a part of at the MRS meeting programs?
Absolutely, yeah. In fact, we're planning out a 3-year campaign in this effort. So this is really just the first one. and there's going to be a fall 2018 symposium on data-driven and AI work, and this is actually, you can submit an abstract now essentially. So that looks to be a really good symposium. There's also a tutorial that's coming up on the Sunday before the symposium, so just point that out to people. And then also publications and other kinds of media interest. But yeah, I think MRS is really trying to capture this as an area for the community and really validate it.
And personally speaking, how has MRS had an impact on you or your career?
Oh, it's been great. I've been coming to MRS for decades, it's been a great community for me, a way to really connect with peers and share my results, and also look out for what the new interesting topics are.
Benji Maruyama, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.